Chapter 31 Conquer the Quasi-God Benjilas. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Turns out, Benjilas wasn't alone, a Yukira was hiding under her protection. This Yukira must have been her offspring, no wonder she was so protective. A mother's gotta protect her kid. Zhongli scanned Yukira with his appraisal skill. Species, Yukira. Gender, female. Level, 20, novice peak. Type, rock/ground. Ability, sand veil, hidden ability. Potential, quasi-legendary. Moves, tackle, leer, payback, bite, scary face, rock tomb, stomp. Zhongli saw that this Yukira was at the cusp of evolution, about to become a Shakira, rewinding to the battle with Benjilas. After a barrage of attacks, the water types had finally worn her down. Benjilas was reaching her limit. Yes, young Master Su, seeing his chance, crowed with delight. Ha ha ha, you should have known better than to refuse my offer. I told you, give me Yukira, and I'll train her right. But no, you had to be stubborn. Now, I'm taking your kid, and I'm adding you to my collection. Ha ha ha, let's see you deal with that. Young Master Su taunted Benjilas. Enraged, Benjilas unleashed a hyper beam at Su, a beam of deathly pale light shot forth. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. Su was caught completely off guard by the hyper beam, his senses screaming a warning. One hit, and he was a goner. Pale with terror, his legs shaking, he left a puddle on the ground. Su, who had lived a sheltered life, had never faced anything like this. This was an angry blow, gym leader level power at least. Don't you dare. Gyarados, protect. Everyone, help. Not just as Su was paralyzed with fear, his butler reacted, ordering the 3 professional level and 6 elite level water types to jump in front and defend him. The 9 Pokémon used Protect in unison to form a shield against the hyper beam. The moment the hyper beam collided with the barrier, the air crackled and popped. The force of the impact shook the surrounding mine, sending gravel tumbling down. Dust billowed everywhere. Crack! A shield shattered. Benjilas' hyper beam overwhelmed one of the defending Pokémon. The beam of death annihilated it instantly. Fortunately, the professional level Gyarados held the line. As the seconds ticked by, the hyper beam began to fade. Its power was spent. Who? The defending Pokémon had paid the price of one fallen comrade and nearly exhausted their own stamina. Only then was Benjilas' hyper beam finally stopped. It was clear that the attack had been a last-ditch effort. Having exhausted herself, Benjilas collapsed, finally regaining his composure. Su was furious. The attack had humiliated him, he cursed, his handsome face twisted with rage. Damn you! I'll kill you! I'll kill you! Su raged. Uncle Son, finish him! Finish him! The young man ordered his butler to have Gyarados finish off Benjilas. He was still shaken from the near-death experience. Master Su, this Benjilas is destined for you. Don't let your anger get the best of you. Though furious, Su calmed down at the butler's words. Without a word, Su pulled out a Pokeball and threw it at Benjilas. His sinister eyes hinted at a bleak future for the Pokémon once captured. Seeing his chance, Zhongli pulled out his own Pokeball. After all, this was a golden opportunity. Suddenly, 2 Pokeballs appeared in the air, both glowing red, startling Su and his team. They hadn't expected competition. Weakened, Benjilas saw the 2 Pokeballs vying for her. With a surge of defiance, she rose and nudged Zhongli's Pokeball, choosing to be captured by him. She hated Su's group too much. Even capture was better than being owned by them. Pang! The Pokeball clicked shut and fell to the ground, unmoving. Zhongli had succeeded. Who is it? Who is it? Who dares to steal my spirit? Seeing his Benjilas snatched away, Su flew into a rage. Gyarados! Everyone! The old butler immediately put the Pokémon on standby, ready to tear the interloper to pieces. Zhongli pulled his hat lower, concealing his face, and stepped forward. It's you! Uncle Son, kill him for me. I want you to kill him. Su, still shaking from his near-death experience, unleashed all his pent-up rage on Zhongli. As you wish. The butler didn't hesitate, he ordered Gyarados to charge at Zhongli. The butler clearly intended to let Gyarados tear Zhongli limb from limb. His eyes betrayed a callous disregard for human life. Heh, seeing Gyarados charging, Zhongli chuckled, unimpressed. Chapter 32, Eliminate the Root Cause and Eliminate Future Troubles. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Facing the Gyarados' gaping maw and bared fangs, Zhongli remained calm, the Pokeball in his hand pulsed, sensing the danger and eager to protect him. Instantly, a majestic Arcanine materialized before Zhongli. Meeting the charging Gyarados head-on, the Arcanine slammed into it, sending the massive Pokémon reeling. Then, with lightning speed, it teleported to where the Gyarados was about to crash, and in a single, decisive strike, it clamped down on the Gyarados' vital point. The Gyarados was down for the count. What? The sudden loss of his Gyarados ripped through the old butler's mental link, causing him agonizing pain. Damn it! Get them all! Young Master Su erupted in curses. His remaining 7 Pokémon, ignoring their exhaustion, prepared to charge. Hold up! The butler, heedless of the damage to his own mind, stopped Master Su. Friend, you've captured a Tyranitar. Why not just hand over that Pupitar to us? We've already suffered heavy losses, and returning empty-handed is not an option. It's a win-win for everyone. What do you say? The old butler, even in his wounded state, was still trying to negotiate. He was clearly wary of the Arcanine's power. The lightning-fast kill of the Gyarados proved Zhongli wasn't someone to be trifled with. They were willing to concede the Tyranitar, but not the Pupitar. The butler's words also carried a veiled threat. If Zhongli refused, they were prepared to eliminate him, but they were seriously underestimating their opponent. In the butler's eyes, the Arcanine was only a high-level professional, its victory a fluke born of a surprise attack on a weakened Gyarados. Now that they were prepared, a fight over the Pupitar would be a battle to the death. However, Zhongli held all the cards. His Arcanine was gym level, capable of crushing even a fully rested team of opponents. Uncle Son, what are you afraid of? That guy's just a low-life thug. Master Su pointed a finger at Zhongli. Do you even know who I am? I'm from the Su family of Jinling. My father's a gym leader. Master Su puffed out his chest, looking down at the silent Zhongli with arrogance. Now you're scared, right? Let me tell you something. You get down on your knees and beg for my forgiveness, and maybe, just maybe, I'll let you off. Otherwise, not just you, but your entire family will suffer. Zhongli, initially amused by Master Su's bluster, instantly flew into a rage. Threatening his family was a death wish. Arcanine, take them out. The Arcanine unleashed its full power, its gym-level aura crushing the remaining Pokémon. They felt as if they'd been plunged into the dead of winter. Even Master Su's bodyguards cursed inwardly. Their master was a complete moron. Out in the wild, where the law had no reach, he was provoking a powerful trainer. He was practically begging for it. Air, get in there. The butler ordered the 2 bodyguards to send their Pokémon forward. Despite their internal complaints, the bodyguards had no choice but to obey. But before they could react, the Arcanine unleashed a flash fire, incinerating the 5 professional-level Pokémon in an instant. The loss of their Pokémon caused the bodyguards unbearable mental trauma, and they collapsed unconscious. Master, we need to get out of here. The old butler summoned a Slowbro with elite-level strength, 31-40, ordering the bodyguards to step in was merely a delaying tactic. The young master's safety was paramount, everything else was expendable. The Slowbro began using teleport to whisk Master Su away, but Zhongli wouldn't allow it. He ordered the Arcanine to intervene. Master, go. I'll hold him off. The old butler, with grim determination, commanded his remaining 2 basic professional-level water-type Pokémon to impede the Arcanine. He hoped the Slowbro could teleport Master Su to safety. Arcanine, use Snarl. Zhongli smiled coldly at the display of loyalty. The Arcanine channeled its dark energy, and a wave of evil energy washed over the entire area. The Snarl disrupted the Slowbro's teleport attempt, because the dark type resists the psychic type. In an area saturated with dark energy, unless the Slowbro was significantly stronger than the Arcanine, it couldn't teleport. Despair washed over Master Su, with the 2 water-type Pokémon quickly dispatched, that the old butler was on the verge of mental collapse. Now, only Master Su remained. Zhongli advanced with slow, deliberate steps, sending the young master stumbling backward in terror. You, stay away, that the smell of urine filled the air, particularly pungent in the enclosed mine. Young Master Su had soiled himself. I was wrong. Please don't kill me. I beg you, don't kill me. Master Su, oblivious to his soaked trousers, knelt on the ground, begging for his life. Tears and mucus streamed down his face, a picture of utter humiliation, but Zhongli had no intention of letting him go. Given Master Su's arrogance and vindictiveness, releasing him would be like releasing a tiger back into the wild. He would undoubtedly return to his family, fuel their rage, and incite them to seek revenge on Zhongli. The Su family was a prominent name in Jinling City, and the family head was a seasoned gym leader. He had 6 gym-level Pokémon. Chapter 33 Contract with the Quasi-God Yogilas. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Even though Zhongli wasn't worried about Master Su's family, considering his father's Hyluga was close to quasi-king level, he could handle a veteran gym leader from the Su family. The gap between gym level and quasi-king was huge. A quasi-king level Pokémon could take on 6 gym level Pokémon. Breaking through to quasi-king meant gaining a domain, which could easily suppress those without one. Still, he couldn't just let Master Su off the hook. News got out, and dealing with every established gym family would become a hassle. So, Zhongli walked over to the terrified Master Su and grabbed him. No. Master Su begged. A snap, and Zhongli broke his neck. It was his first time doing something like this, but he didn't feel anything. He dropped the body and piled it with the bodyguards and butler. Those bodyguards didn't make it either. Zhongli had Feng Su go dig a pit and buried them all in the mine. Master Su's Pokémon, now ownerless, were released by Zhongli. No one else could contract them now anyway. Afterward, Zhongli found Yuki and pulled her in front of him, holding out his hands. Yukira, will you follow me and become my Pokémon? Yukira seemed to consider it. Then Zhongli released Tsunade. Tsunade gave Yukira instructions and nodded, signaling approval for her to become Zhongli's Pokémon. Zhongli planned for his father to contract Tsunade. He wouldn't risk trying to control a Pokémon with Tyranidar's peak professional power. Contracted Pokémon exceeding trainers' abilities often fail. Besides, Tyranitar was already strong. He was set to train another from scratch anyway. Zhang's father would get Tyranitar. His Hyluga was about to reach quasi-king level. He needed to fill his team. A gym leader would have 6 Pokémon. But now he was about to have a quasi-king level Pokémon, and his contracted Pokémon were not full. People would laugh, right? It was perfect since Zhang's father's birthday was coming up. This would be Zhongli's gift to him. With Tyranitar's confirmation, Yukira agreed to the contract. A golden contract appeared in their minds, creating a mental connection. Zhongli could sense Yukira's happiness. After signing, Yukira repaid Zhongli. Golden energy flowed into him, turning into heat and invigorating his body. Zhongli couldn't help but sigh in contentment. He punched a stalactite, shattering it. Pleased with his newfound strength, Zhongli smiled. His contract with Charmander had increased his fire resistance and some physical fitness. Now, the power of the earth filled him, greatly improving his physical fitness and resilience. His defenses were comprehensively enhanced. Now, a barrage of punches from a boxer would barely tickle. With the Yukila contract complete, Zhongli led them out of the mine. Boom! The ground shook, and grey fog filled the mine. Zhongli, Tyranitar, and Fengsigu had destroyed it, burying everything under tons of rock. No trace of their enemies would be left. Having contracted Yukila, Zhongli's training journey was over. He'd spent the whole time circling the outskirts of Purple Mountain Forest, almost reaching the next city. He didn't dare venture inside. Even with Wind Speed Dog, he wasn't sure he could make it out. On the way back, Zhongli set up camp by a stream near a river. He planned to rest for the night and then take his Pokémon on a dimensional adventure. Since this was Yukira's first time, he wanted to be extra careful. Yuyo, I'm using the system's time travel function for a dimensional adventure. Request accepted. Searching now. Currently traversable world, Naruto world. Currently traversable Pokémon, Fire Dinosaur, Yukira. Confirm, host. Yuyo, confirm. Golden light flashed. His Fire Dinosaur and Yukila disappeared and reappeared in another world. Pokémon Yukira appears near Naruto world, Iwagakure Ninja Village. Pokémon Yukira used Dig, successfully crossing the barrier of the IWA Ninja Village and entering the village. Pokémon Yukira observed an unknown ninja training Earth release ninjutsu and was greatly inspired, that while Yukira watched the ninja use ninjutsu, he was discovered by IWA Ninja Village's ANBU. Immediately, they began the hunt. Earth release, camouflage technique. An Earth release ninja used the camouflage technique and vanished from Yukira's sight. Earth release, inner decapitation technique. The invisible ninja approached Yukira and used the inner decapitation technique, trapping Yukira with only her head exposed, but the trick had little effect on Yukila. She just dug a hole and escaped, ready to flee. Earth release, earth flow wall. A ninja saw Yukira trying to escape and formed a wall to prevent her from escaping. Chapter 34 Earth Escape Super Light and Heavy Rock Technique. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This wall's reinforced with earth chakra, so even Yukira can't bust through it easily, but the worst is yet to come. Earth style, super lightened boulder jutsu. A clear female voice rang out. Suddenly, a huge shadow loomed over Yukira, blocking out the sun. A girl in black fishnets stood above them, hoisting a massive hill. She chucked it straight at Yukira. He freaked out and used Dig to burrow underground. Boom! The explosion kicked up a sandstorm that filled the air. When the dust finally settled, the entire landscape had been reshaped. The hill had created a massive crater. Underground, Yukira felt the tremor and knew that if he hadn't dug his way out, he would have been crushed. Yukira realized this was no place for elves and prepared to flee underground. Nailed it, thought the girl in the fishnets. Hui, clapped her hands proudly. Kuratsuchi, you still have much to learn. You didn't even realize the enemy used earth style to escape. An old voice spoke. Grandfather. Lord Tsuchikage. Those around them revealed his identity. The old man floating in the air was the third Tsuchikage. He pointed a finger. A white light flashed in his hand and shot toward Yukira's location. Ding dong. Life signs of the elf Yukira detected in critical danger. System initiating transfer. Yukira, still fleeing underground, was immediately teleported back by the system. The instant he vanished, the light obliterated the spot where he had been, watching from the viewing platform. Jiangli worried for Yukila. That light was the third Tsuchikage using particle style. Particle style, a bloodline limit unique to this world, breaks down matter to the atomic level. If Yukira had been hit, he would have been vaporized. Back in Tsushigakure village, the third Tsuchikage sensed the disappearance of Yukira's life signature and assumed the elf was eliminated. Back in the real world, Yukira began calculating his rewards in the system space. Congratulations to the elf Yukira for obtaining Earth Style, Earth Enclosure Wall. Earth Style, Earth Enclosure Wall. It wasn't as impressive as the Earth Style, Earth Flow Rampart, which could raise city walls, but it could trap ordinary elves. Congratulations to the elf Yukira for obtaining Earth Style, Headhunter Jutsu. This move was a solid way to ensnare elves. Congratulations to the elf Yukira for obtaining the ninjutsu Earth Style, Super Lightened Boulder Jutsu. What? Jiangli yelled excitedly. This was an SR level ninjutsu. After learning this ninjutsu, Yukira could control his weight and fly. Yukira's final evolution, Tyranitar, was a powerhouse. It had range, destruction, and high resistance, but Tyranitar was one of the few pseudo-legendaries that couldn't fly. Like Groudon, the black sheep of the legendary beasts. Other legendary beasts could fly, Groudon couldn't fly at all, which was a running joke amongst the others. After Yukira learned Earth Style, Super Lightened Boulder Jutsu, he could fly. this ninjutsu was an incredibly practical SR move. Experience calculation initiated. Congratulations to the elf Yukira for getting an experience critical hit from Kira. Congratulations to the elf Yukira for gaining a large amount of experience. The elf Yukira has been upgraded to level 22, that the instant the elf leveled up, he appeared in front of Zhongli. A blinding white light surrounded his body. This was the light of evolution. Yukira grew taller, and his skin hardened, his body turned gray-black, and his limbs began to retract. A second stage evolved Pupitar appeared. Pupitar didn't resemble an elf. It looked like a dinosaur or Yukira. Pupitar looked like a cocoon. Pupitar was the transitional stage between Yukira and Tyranitar, the hard shell that cocooned him protected him as he absorbed and accumulated energy. Finally, he would break through his limits and evolve into the butterfly-like Tyranitar. Zhongli used Investigate on Pupitar. Species, Pupitar, Shiny Elf, Gender, Female, Strength, Level 22, Ordinary Tier, Beginner, Type, Rock/Ground, Ability, Shed Skin, Potential, Quasi-Legendary, Moves, Earth Style, Earth Enclosure Wall, Earth Style, Headhunter Jutsu, Earth Style, Super Lightened Boulder Jutsu, Tackle, Leer, Payback, Bite, Scary Face, Rock Tomb, Stomp. Shaji. Dimensional adventures helped him to level up. Pupitar, who loved power, was thrilled and jumped on Zhongli. Zhongli felt like he'd been hit by a car. If not for the contract between them enhancing his physique, it would have killed him. Pupitar, use Earth Style, Super Lightened Boulder Jutsu. Seeing Pupitar celebrating her newfound strength, Zhongli told her to try Earth Style, Super Lightened Boulder Jutsu. Shaky. After hearing Zhongli's command, Pupitar immediately channeled the rock elements in his body. He used Earth Style, Super Lightened Boulder Jutsu, and he grew as light as air. His strength and defense remained unchanged. Pupitar started floating and flew into the sky. He'd never experienced this before. The tyrant of the desert was never meant to fly, but he had defied gravity and was airborne. Pupitar zipped around in the sky, then he flew down and circled Zhongli, sharing his joy. Chapter 35 Encounter with Tsunade. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Just then, after Benjilas emerged from the Pokeball, he saw Shakira circling excitedly beside him. He was floored. Benjilas Pokémon never fly. Ban. Benjilas called out, surprised. Shaji. Shakira's responded, watching the mother and daughter communicate. Zhongli wondered if Shakira's Earth Escape Super Light Heavy Rock technique could be taught to Benjilas. That would be a game changer. If moves learned from one world could be passed on to other Pokémon, he'd have to rethink his strategies. Maybe, down the line, he could use the Earth Escape Super Light Heavy Rock technique to win over the legendary Groudon. After all, Groudon's the only heavyweight mythical beast who can't fly, and Kyogre never lets him forget it. Zhongli didn't know where Groudon was holed up, but he had a feeling their paths would cross. Zhongli then tuned into the Fire Dinosaur's interdimensional adventure. The elf Fire Dinosaur has materialized in an unknown casino in the Naruto world. The system feed showed a golden portal opening next to a bustling casino. The Fire Dinosaur stepped out. Yikes! Onlookers screamed and scattered. The commercial street emptied out in seconds. Ha! Which summon are you? Think you can waltz in here? A husky female voice rang out. A gorgeous woman with a blonde ponytail and ample assets appeared, confronting the Fire Dinosaur. Zhongli recognized her instantly. Tsunade. She was Trouble, a medical ninjutsu expert with shadow-level skills. The Fire Dinosaur was way out of his depth, though. He didn't think Tsunade would actually attack the Fire Dinosaur. There had to be a catch. Her hemophobia was legendary. She basically avoided combat at all costs. She'd been enjoying a gambling spree when the Fire Dinosaur scared all the other players away. That made the casino owner see red. How could he rake it in if all his patrons were running for the hills? So, the owner went straight to Tsunade and asked her to work off her debt. All the money Tsunade owed the casino was forgiven in exchange for taking care of the Fire Dinosaur. From the casino owner's perspective, this cash cow was guaranteed to be back for more. Eventually, from Tsunade's perspective, she always lost, so the casino boss was set to get the last laugh anyway. So, you're the wild summon tearing up the place. Beat it while I'm still in a good mood. Tsunade, taking the cash for helping him, immediately assumed her role. The fire dinosaur just stood there, confused. He hadn't done anything, except show up and scare people. Well. Still here. Need a little encouragement. Tsunade's patience snapped. She didn't understand a word the fire dinosaur was saying. She charged forward, channeling chakra into her fist. The ground trembled as Tsunade's punch slammed into the fire dinosaur, barely missing him. The impact pulverized the ground, sending dust and debris flying. The fire dinosaur was immediately enraged by Tsunade's attack. He opened his mouth and unleashed a vortex of flame. The whirling inferno sped toward Tsunade, but Tsunade braced herself. She met the fiery whirlwind head-on, her chakra-infused fist dispersing the flames. The fire dinosaur goggled at the powerful woman in front of him. Tsunade's minor burns were already starting to heal. As a medical ninja, she could shrug off injuries like they were nothing. You're the summon that old man was talking about, the one invading Konoha. Tsunade finally recognized the fire dinosaur. The third Hokage had previously shared intel on the fire dinosaur with her. As a contractor of the Bone Forest, one of the 3 sacred places, Tsunade had forged a psychic contract with the Bone Forest Immortals. So, the third Hokage wanted to brief Tsunade and ask Slug Sage if he had any knowledge about this summon. But Slug Sage had no information about summons like the fire dinosaur, so Tsunade had forgotten about it. But after this confrontation, Tsunade finally remembered the information about the psychic beast. Now Tsunade was ready to get serious. Before, she just wanted to scare away the fire dinosaurs, but she knew that the village had been attacked by the fire dinosaurs. Although there were no civilian casualties, the losses were very heavy. As the princess of Konoha, Tsunade, although she didn't like the old man and the others very much, she loved and cared for the village as much as anyone else. Tsunade charged, her intent clear. Facing the charging Tsunade, the fire dinosaur channeled his draconic energy. Streams of energy swirled from his mouth and nostrils, and the fire dinosaur met Tsunade's charge with a blast of dragon breath. The whirlwind of fiery energy surged toward her, but Tsunade dodged the attack with lightning speed. Heavenly Foot of Pain. Tsunade, now in close range, unleashed the devastating taijutsu technique. The fire dinosaur braced himself, meeting Tsunade's attack with his dragon claws. The earth groaned as dragon claws met the sole of Tsunade's foot. The fire dinosaur struggled to maintain his footing against the force of the blow. Unable to withstand it, the fire dinosaur lashed out with his claws. The sound of tearing fabric filled the air, as the fire dinosaur's claws slashed through Tsunade's clothes. The fire dinosaur raised his claws triumphantly, displaying his prize. Tsunade, caught off guard, immediately crossed her arms in mortification and rage. Onlookers gasped. Zhongli, watching the battle, clamped a hand over his mouth and nose, fighting back the urge. It was no use, and in the end his little follower Shizun was the one who helped Tsunade. Then I put my coat on her and it felt better. The fire dinosaur waved his trophy tauntingly. Chapter 36 Evolve. Charizard. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The fire dinosaur held up her dark touch, showing it off like a trophy. Tsunade glared daggers at him. If looks could kill, the fire dinosaur would be 6 feet under 1,000 times over. Still reeling, Tsunade quickly tightened her coat. She channeled every ounce of chakra she had, forming a chakra scalpel in her hand. This ninjutsu was originally for medical use, but she was using it as a surgical blade. The chakra scalpel was incredibly sharp, capable of slicing through steel like butter, and Tsunade was aiming for the fire dinosaur's neck. This time, she was going for the kill. In the blink of an eye, Tsunade was on top of the fire dinosaur, landing a blow before he could even react. The nearness of death sent a jolt through the fire dinosaur, and instinctively, he ducked his head. He barely dodged the blade, escaping death by a hair's breadth. That close call snapped the fire dinosaur to attention. He had seriously underestimated Tsunade. But Tsunade wasn't a one-trick pony. As a medical ninja, she had more up her sleeve. Her whole body was a lethal weapon, and she wasn't about to let him off with just one hit. Instantly, Tsunade created a sharp scalpel under his feet, ready to slash open the fire dinosaur's belly. At the last second, the fire dinosaur used water style, waterfall technique, it washed away this grim reaper in an instant. Then, realizing he was outmatched, the fire dinosaur bolted. "You think you can run?" Tsunade yelled and immediately used the summoning technique. A massive slug came crashing down in front of the fire dinosaur, shaking the ground. If the fire dinosaur hadn't jumped back, the impact would have squashed him flat. Facing the massive enemy, the fire dinosaur retaliated with fire-style, Dragon Flame Jutsu. A dragon of flame surged toward the giant slug, but the slug sage's clone countered with a massive ball of acid. The dragon flame was extinguished instantly. Under Tsunade's command, the slug kept spewing acid at the fire dinosaur. Acid rain began falling from the sky, turning the surrounding trees into mush. "I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die," the fire dinosaur's mind was screaming. His body was in full-blown panic mode. He knew that a direct hit from that acid would corrode him to death, but just in the nick of time, the system kicked in. Fatal danger detected for the elf fire dinosaur. Teleportation commencing. Zhongli, who was watching the fight, saw the fire dinosaur vanish in a flash of light. He was instantly back in the system space. Initiating reward settlement. Congratulations to the elf fire dinosaur for acquiring Taijutsu, super strength. Congratulations to the elf fire dinosaur for acquiring Taijutsu, sky kick. Not bad at all, Zhongli thought as he watched the fire dinosaur gain super strength and sky kick. His fire dinosaur excelled at long-range attacks, with a wide range of special attack moves, but physical attacks had always been his weakness. Zhongli was planning to develop the fire dinosaur into an all-rounder. That's why he was constantly working on his physical attack capabilities. Learning Tsunade's signature taijutsu moves through this dimension travel was a great deal. After all, Tsunade's super strength and sky kick were technically ninjutsu. They were full-on offensive physical techniques powered by chakra. The Raikage lightning armor was the most famous of these. This type of taijutsu was rare, but it was incredibly powerful. Tsunade's ninja taijutsu had been systematically modified, using the power of energy controlled by the elves. This would help make up for the fire dinosaur's weaknesses, and give him useful moves for close combat. Congratulations to the elf fire dinosaur for obtaining the immortal arts cultivation method. What? The method of practicing immortal arts. The fire dinosaur had actually gotten his hands on it. Training in immortal arts meant absorbing natural energy, and elves were pets of nature. They were naturally close to the power of nature, so once the fire dinosaur mastered the cultivation method of immortality, it would greatly enhance his strength. The immortals of the three holy places in the world of Naruto were just ordinary animals to begin with. By practicing immortal arts to extract natural energy, they had become spirits. First of all, their lifespan had become almost eternal. The immortals of the three holy places had been around for practically the entire history of ninjas. From the very beginning of ninjas, they had followed in the footsteps of their ancestors. Once the fire dinosaurs learned the immortal arts, they would definitely be able to break the lifespan limit of their family. With the blessing of immortal arts, any move he used would have several times the power. If the fire dinosaur used the magic method of spraying flames, it would be almost guaranteed to hit among the same level, and no one would be his opponent. The immortal arts learned by the fire dinosaur had been systematically modified and aligned with the original world's cultivation methods. It was impossible to turn to stone if he failed. Like in the Naruto world. Congratulations to the elf fire dinosaur for getting triple experience with critical hits. The system sends its congratulations. Congratulations to the elf fire dinosaur for being upgraded to level 27. Haha. This time, the fire dinosaur had gotten triple experience and critical hits, successfully raising his level to level 27. That was a 3-level upgrade in a row, bringing him to the level of a normal high level. The higher the level, the harder it was to improve, especially for high-level elves like quasi-king of heaven and above. They might not be able to advance even after a year of training. With the help of the system, the fire dinosaur's strength could grow by leaps and bounds. These are bugs. Zhongli and his classmates are at the mid-novice level now. The fire dinosaur appeared in front of Zhongli. A fierce white light suddenly appeared on his body. This was the light of evolution. Under the light, the fire dinosaur's body grew unusually tall. Long wings sprouted from his back, and his limbs became slender and powerful. The flames on his tail burned brighter, proof of his high energy. the fire dinosaur had finally completed his evolution. Now, you could call him Charizard. Zhongli had been training Charmander for so long, and now he had finally evolved him into a Charizard. Chapter 37 Tsunade's Underwear. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zhongli was stoked to see the awesome fire-breathing Charizard. He couldn't wait to hop on and cruise around in the sky. It was his first time flying on his contracted elf. Looking down from up there, the world seemed so huge, filling Zhongli with pride. This world is mine for the taking, that he came back down to earth. Cutting his thoughts short, he needed to get his pilot's license back home, otherwise he couldn't just fly around in the city. Zhongli then used his appraisal skill on Charizard to check his stats. Race, Charizard. Gender, male. Strength, level 27, high-end regular. Type, fire/flying. Item, Tsunade's underwear. Ability, solar power/water absorb. Potential, champion. Moves, fire style, fireball jutsu, fire style, phoenix. Flower jutsu, fire style, dragon flame jutsu, fire style, fire dragon bullet, water style, great waterfall jutsu, body enhancement technique, super strength, body enhancement technique, heavenly foot of pain, shadow clone jutsu, outrage, dragon ascent. Evolving into Charizard unlocked flight, and he'd also picked up some genetic moves like outrage and dragon ascent. Those dragon moves are super powerful. Without a high-level dragon-type elf trainer, you wouldn't even get close to them, and those guys charge a fortune to teach them. Most trainers can't afford it. Wait a minute. Zhongli noticed something weird. His skill had picked up a strange item. Tsunade's underwear. Didn't Charizard snatch that when he fought Tsunade? How did it become an item? Zhongli pulled it out, staring at the black lace in his hand. It even had a nice, light scent. He ran his skill on the underwear itself. Item, Tsunade's underwear, host only. Tsunade's favorite style from the Naruto world, imbued with her unique aura. Wearing it grants, plus 100 defense, plus 100 charm, infinity embarrassment. No way. Seeing the host only part, Zhongli cursed. If he wore it, it'd be like cross-dressing. Not his thing, but that plus 100 to defense and charm was tempting. That defense could save his life. Ugh, whatever. I'll hold on to it. Blushing, Zhongli shoved the underwear to the bottom of his backpack. Their interdimensional adventure was over. It had worn them out, so the elves all crashed early. The next morning, Zhongli decided to fly back to the city on Charizard. He'd been in the wild long enough. He missed his parents, even though they talked every day. Plus, living out in the open was a pain. He was always on edge, never eating or sleeping well. Whoosh! Standing on Charizard's shoulders, staring at the horizon, the cold air nipped at him. Winter was coming on quick, and the temperature was dropping fast. Suddenly, he saw something happening below. With his eyesight, he could make out what was going on. Even from up in the air, he saw his classmate from the next class, the girl with the Squirtle, Ji-Ling. Turns out they were known as the lucky duo of Jinling University High School. Besides the kids whose families used connections or those whose parents sacrificed for the alliance, who got a guaranteed starter, regular folks had to win the lottery for an elf from the starter trio. Zhongli and Ji-Ling were the only two in their year to get a starter elf that way, hence the lucky duo title. What were the odds he'd bump into her in Purple Mountain Forest? And she was in trouble. Some loser and his two goons were hassling her. Ji-Ling, we're all here to train, why don't we train together? It'd be safer for all of us. I've got 2 bodyguards with regular level, 21 to 30, strength. With them around, we'd own the outskirts of Purple Mountain Forest. Whadia say, that the creep was shamelessly trying to get Ji-Ling to team up. Get lost. Ji-Ling was sick of his pestering. She'd come to the wild to train in peace. How he found out, she didn't know. She only told her best friend. But somehow, this guy had sniffed it out and followed her from the city. She'd known someone was tailing her for a while. She planned to shake him off in the wild, but he kept his distance. Now he was pretending it was a coincidence, trying to weasel his way in. It was getting on Ji-Ling's nerves. She lost it and told him to buzz off. The guy's face turned sour real quick. Look, I was being nice, but you're just being a b***tch. His dad had told him to get close to Jiling at school, but didn't say why. The guy figured it was because his dad wanted him to date her, so he planned this whole chance encounter, hoping to woo her in the wild, but Jiling's rejection had exposed his true colors. He was used to getting whatever he wanted, and out here in the wild, who would know what happened? He could get her alone, and, well, things could get interesting. Fine, if you don't want to play nice, don't blame me. Go. Swampert, he threw out his contracted elf, a Swampert, which evolved from the water-type Mudkip, not as good as the starter water types, but still rare. Zhongli used his skill and saw the Swampert was level 20. Chapter 38 The Stubborn Son of the Su Family. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zhongli figured this Swamp King was freshly evolved, just hitting its stride at the novice level. Turns out, this rich kid went to Jinling University's #1 middle school too, 1 year ahead of Zhongli and his classmates, though, his name's Su Fei, and he's one of the Jinling Su family. Zhongli couldn't believe he was running into the Su family again. Talk about a bad penny. Seeing Su family members throwing their weight around everywhere proves the Jinling Su family's reputation is well-earned. Bet it was the same in their past lives. Classic case of rotten leadership, and being from the Jinling Su family, the resources he gets are way beyond what normal students have. But with all that, Su Fei's elf strength still hasn't hit the ordinary level, 21 to 30. Doesn't say much for his training skills, does it? Usually, someone gets into a top high school like Jinling University affiliated and they can get their elf up to peak novice level in a year. Second year, they might even train it straight up to the ordinary level. The school hands out tons of resources, enough to get an elf to that point. After that, trainers gotta hustle for what they need, but Su Fei, his elf is clearly talented, and he hasn't made the leap. Too busy partying to bother with serious training. Probably, Su Fei didn't even hesitate to send the Swamp King into attack mode. That ticked Jiling off big time. Alright. Kami Turtle, let's go. Facing the Swamp King, Jiling threw her Kami Turtle into the ring without missing a beat. Su Fei saw Jiling sending out Kami Turtle, one of the Yu family line. He got this greedy look on his face. If it wasn't already bound, he'd probably try to snatch it. But hey, if you can't have it, why not ruin it? That's how this spoiled brat thinks. If he can't get something, nobody can. Kami Turtle. Zhongli, watching the match, couldn't believe this guy was practically cheating. Last time he saw Jiling Squirtle, it was only novice level. Now she's trained it into a full-on Kami Turtle. Zhongli used his explorer eyes on Kami Turtle. Species, Kami Turtle. Gender, female. Strength, level 17, novice level advanced. Type, water. Ability, rain dish, hidden ability. Potential, quasi-king. Moves, tackle, tail whip, withdraw, water gun, rapid spin, bite, hydro pump, earthquake, water pulse, mega punch, ice punch. In just a few months, Jiling had gotten her elf to the advanced novice level. Zhongli figured she must be sitting on a gold mine, literally. If she doesn't break through to the ordinary level by the next semester, something's wrong. Of course, he couldn't really compare himself to her. He's got a cheat code going, while his peers are struggling to hit the elite level, 31 to 40. Zhongli could be a champion by then. Right after Su Fei sent out the Swamp King, Jiling told Kami Turtle to strike back. The two elves started going at it, but Kami Turtle was clearly outmatched. The other elf was fully evolved, way stronger. Just when Zhongli was about to let his Charizard step in, the tables turned. Jiling's Kami Turtle suddenly went into overdrive and took down the Swamp King. Su Fei went ballistic. He couldn't believe his elf was such a pushover. He started yelling about how worthless it was. Get M. Su Fei, totally embarrassed, ordered his bodyguards to attack. Just like that. His two bodyguards sent out ordinary, mid-level elves. Jiling frowned. She reached for her waist, like she was about to pull something out. Hold it. You guys aren't seriously gonna gang up on a girl, are you? Zhongli immediately had his Charizard swoop down from above, its massive form creating a shockwave as it landed. Who are you? But out. Su Fei couldn't believe someone would interfere. Who I am is none of your concern, that I suggest you leave now, or you'll regret it. You! How dare you talk to me like that? Do you have any idea who I am? I'm from the Su family. Let's see how tough you are. Su Fei immediately sicked his bodyguards on him. One sent out a Beedrill, poison/bug, and the other a gloom, grass/poison. Seeing the elf types, Zhongli couldn't help but grin. Charizard, flamethrower. Beedrill, use agility to dodge. Gloom, poison powder. Facing the two incoming elves, Zhongli didn't waste any time. He had Charizard blast them with flamethrower, the Beedrill used agility to dodge the flames and came charging in, the Gloom's poison powder got burned away by the flamethrower before it could even reach Charizard. Beedrill, use poison jab. The Beedrill zipped around to Charizard's back, its sharp stingers exposed, it focused all its poison energy into its stingers, making them glow with toxic colors. Charizard, knock it away. Huh, you'll never hit it. The smug trainer thought Zhongli was just shouting random commands. With Beedrill's speed using agility, it would be easy to break through without any defense, but Charizard, having already practiced some immortal magic, could handle the Beedrill's speed. He'd only practiced for one night, not absorbing much natural energy, but even that was enough to sharpen his reflexes and boost his physical strength. Charizard swiftly deflected the Beedrill's attack, then gathered fire energy in his hands, using a move like ninja taijutsu, fire style, strength of 100 seal, he punched the Beedrill while it was using agility, bam. The Beedrill smashed through several trees before it finally stopped. Even then, it collapsed on the ground, lying motionless. Chapter 39. Time flies and returning home is as fast as an arrow. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The Stingbee was in bad shape after that last attack. Charizard didn't just hit it hard, he also blasted it with a fire release monster power fist. That's double damage, plus the fire energy was burning it up from the inside. The giant needle bee's strength was gone in a flash, and it crashed to the ground, unable to fly. If its wings weren't still twitching, you'd think it was a goner. Then Charizard nailed the stinky flower with a sky-high kick, slamming it into the dirt, a blast of flame. Vortex finished it off instantly. Su Fei was speechless, he couldn't believe his bodyguard was so useless, making him look like a fool. Get lost, Zhongli snapped, his face like ice. Just you wait, Su Fei's bodyguard hauled him away, defeated. Su Fei was still fuming, muttering, just wait. But he kept his voice down, afraid Zhongli would hear. He was probably planning to use his family connections to get revenge later. Zhongli wanted to take care of the problem right then, but they weren't deep enough in the forest, plus, there were people watching nearby. If Su Fei got jumped, it would end up online, and the cops would be all over him. Everyone else might be scared of the Jinling Su family, but he wasn't, and it wasn't like he hadn't already dealt with one Su family kid. Even though he'd kept it quiet, his two Tyrannitars would be outed sooner or later. If the Su family could find their way into the mine and pinpoint Tyranitar so easily, and bring 3 water-type Pokémon to take him down, they had to have inside information. Once Zhongli showed up with the shiny Tyranitar, the Jinling Su family would notice for sure, but without proof, they couldn't touch Zhongli through official channels. As for the underhanded stuff, once his dad Steelix leveled up to the point where it was nearly as strong as a champion, the Su family would just have to suck it up. You're Zhongli. You've got the wrong guy. Seeing Zhongli chase Su Fei off, Ji Ling's eyes lit up. Zhongli looked familiar, like she'd met him before. So you really are Zhongli? Ji Ling wasn't sure at first. The Pokémon that Zhongli, her classmate, got at the start was a Charmander. No matter how hard you trained it, there was no way you could get a Charizard this fast, but when Zhongli hesitated, Ji Ling knew it was him. Come on, you can't hide it, she teased, as Zhongli pulled his hat lower. Okay, fine, it's me, Zhongli. Ha! I knew it. I remember when you got your first Pokémon. The whole school's talking about you, how you beat Zhao Zijin so bad he went to another school. Everyone knows your name now. Zhongli groaned, he didn't want to be famous. He'd done what he had to do. I saved you today. You have to keep my Charizard a secret, okay? Zhongli said, joking. Let's see what you can do. Or, I could use a buddy. You could come with me on my adventure in the forest. Ji Ling blinked at Jiangli, playing it cool. Jiangli had been her hero, and Ji Ling was definitely interested. Alright, Jiangli sighed. I'll be your errand boy. Jiangli went along with Ji Ling as they trained in the Purple Mountain Forest. He had been planning to go home and had already called his mom to tell her, but because she was running late and said she'd be back later, Zhang's mom was a little annoyed at first, but then she heard that she was going to practice with a girl, and she immediately changed her mind. Jiangli didn't have to come back and could stay out as long as he wanted, so, Jiangli and Ji Ling continued their training in the Purple Mountain Forest. They went to a lot of places, and Jiangli even took her to the Hot Monkey Group. They teamed up to take down the pesky Arbok gang, and the time flew by. The weather was all over the place. Hot in the morning, freezing at night. Judging by the calendar, winter was coming fast. Today was the day Jiangli and Ji Ling were heading home. They'd been out in the wild together for over 2 weeks, home sweet home. Not counting the time with Ji Ling, Jiangli had been roughing it for over a month. He hadn't been in the city in ages. He'd just stopped in the outer towns for supplies. Ji Ling. I'm heading out. No need to see me off. Take care. After all they'd been through, Ji Ling looked a lot tougher. Her Squirtle had leveled up, but more importantly, her battle skills had improved big time. Wild Pokémon were different from trained ones. They didn't have fancy moves, but they knew how to fight. Out there, it was survival of the fittest. Jiangli and Ji Ling had gotten a lot closer, even though they weren't officially a couple, but they were on the verge of something more. Back at school, Jiangli and Ji Ling started hanging out a lot. Phosphorus felt like he was missing out, so he broke up with his girlfriend first. Time was flying by, and the first half of freshman year was almost over. The new year was just around the corner, and Jiangli was at his hometown, his grandpa's place, because his dad Steelix was about to level up. In a small training area in the back hills, Jiangli was watching over his dad. It was too risky to do it in the city. The energy surge would be too intense, so, Zhang's dad took Steelix out to the countryside. He said he was watching over his dad, but really, Jiangli just wanted to see it happen. With his strength, it was hard to say who was protecting who. Plus, Zhang's dad had his other 3 gym-level Pokémon with him. That's right, Zhang's dad had already bonded with the Tyranitar at peak professional level. When Jiangli brought Tyranitar to meet his dad, he was ecstatic. This was a pseudo-legendary Pokémon, and a fully grown one at that, a rare opportunity. There were tons of gym-level trainers in the entire league, but how many had pseudo-legendaries? Chapter 40 successfully broke through to the quasi-king level. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After hearing that Jiangli had also made a contract with the Shakiras, he felt a lot better about contracting a Tyranitar. If Jiangli hadn't snagged a pseudo-legendary, he would have had to swallow his ambition. He would have given his son the chance to make the contract, waited until Jiangli's Pokémon reached the professional level, and then let him use the Monkey King wine to contract a Tyranitar. Zhang's father had to admit Jiangli's luck was insane. Not only did he get his hands on the Monkey King wine, but his Houndoom was about to evolve into a pseudo-legendary, and he had already caught 2 pseudo-legendaries. Plus, Zhang's father had spent a fortune getting his Tyranitar up to gym leader level strength after making the contract. This Tyranitar had been stuck at the peak of the professional level for ages. It was just that she hadn't had any proper training to level up that fast, but all that time she was stuck there had given her a super solid foundation. So, after Zhang's father threw a ton of resources at her, Tyranitar stacked a bunch of experience and broke through to peak gym leader level. Jiangli used his analysis skill on Tyranitar as she devoured the metal ore. Species, Tyranitar, shiny, gender, female, strength, level 53, peak of gym leader level, type, rock/dark, ability, sandstream, potential, pseudo-legendary, moves, dark pulse, bite, hyper beam, stone edge, earthquake, sandstorm, fake out, giga impact, crunch, rock slide, earthquake, dig, super lightweight rock. Even more surprising, this Tyranitar had actually learned dig, super lightweight rock. Yeah, Jiangli Shakiras had taught her mother, Tyranitar, that trick. now this Tyranitar could also use Dig, super lightweight rock to manipulate her weight and basically fly. This blew Zhang's father away. He had never heard of a desert tyrant like Tyranitar, the Earth's favorite, being able to fly. As to why this was the case, Zhongli had asked Tyranitar and Shakiras to say they'd gotten gifts from mythical Pokémon. They claimed that Tyranitar had once met a Pokémon with rainbow feathers in the mine. After accepting its gift, both Tyranitar and Shakiras gained the ability to fly. This was just Zhongli's cover story. After all, even the League struggles to contact such mythical Pokémon. Would you ask them specifically about these things when you meet them? This was also to explain later why Tyranitar could fly. Otherwise, it would be a huge pain if other powerful trainers in the League started asking questions. Plus, Zhongli's Shakiras had also gotten a lot stronger lately. After all his resources were poured into her mom, Tyranitar. As she scarfed down metal veins like crazy, of course she'd get stronger. Zhang's father had been feeling pretty bummed out lately because of how much he's been buying. He had to sell a lot, but as a trainer, he collected many precious resources during his travels. Otherwise, there's no way we could afford a glutton like Tyranitar. Species, Shakiras, shiny, gender, female, strength, level 25, mid-stage beginner, type, rock/ground, ability, shed skin, potential, pseudo-legendary, moves, earth wall, stone edge, dig super lightweight rock, tackle, leer. Payback, bite, scary face, rock throw, stomp, hyper beam. As for Charizard, Zhongli told him to hold back on leveling up for now. Charizard's strength was going up so fast, and Zhongli had only been training him for a few months. His strength shot up like a rocket, going instantly from novice level, 11 to 20, to beginner level. It quickly improved to the high-level strength of ordinary level, 21 to 30. And the level was continuously improved by more than 10 levels. So, to make sure Charizard's foundation didn't become unstable, Zhongli told Charizard to build it up more over the next few weeks. Polish that foundation and think about the future. As for Shakira's improving quickly, that was because, like Tyranitar, she had been stuck at the peak of the novice level for ages. Her foundation was already super solid, even if Shakira's had been following Zhongli since later on. But she was way older than Charizard. Charizard was only a few years old, so compared to Shakira's, he was just a little brother. Just as Zhongli was directing his Pokémon to train, the sky began to darken. It was sunny a second ago, and there were no dark clouds at all, but soon dark clouds began to gather, covering the entire sky. Soon the last ray of sunlight from the sun was directly blocked. From time to time lightning appears in it, which would have happened in an era when the elves did not appear. It will probably be thought that a monster is about to be born. However, it is indeed such a scene for the evil elves to break through to the quasi-king level. Just like some fire elves, if they break through to the quasi-king level, they can also affect the surrounding celestial phenomena, and colors like flaming clouds will appear. As a bolt of thunder struck down, Zhongli knew that He Lujia was now at the critical moment for a breakthrough. Both he and Father Jiang held their breath, hoping that he could successfully break through. Although there are many elves who have broken through to the quasi-king level, they are basically not in any danger. But don't be afraid of 10,000, just be afraid of the unexpected. After all, there are still examples of failure. Although He Lujia's accumulation is very rich, he is afraid of accidents. Suddenly, a black aura suddenly enveloped the entire back mountain. Zhongli knew that this was Houndom's domain. He did it, Zhang's father said. Because Houndom's domain has covered such a wide range, this is enough to show that he has succeeded. After all, he had only initially mastered the field before. But the range is very small, and now he has successfully broken through to the quasi-king level. Then his domain will expand rapidly, including the domain of some powerful quasi-king level elves. It can even cover a town. As expected, after Father Jiang finished speaking, a dark black creature with devil horns on its head slowly walked over. After successfully breaking through, he immediately rushed to Father Jiang and shared with him the joy of finally breaking through. Ha ha ha, old man. Now you have finally fulfilled your wish and successfully entered the realm of the pseudo-legendary. Zhang's father's Arcanine, Altaria, and Tyranitar all walked in front of Houndom, congratulating him. This time he successfully broke through to the pseudo-legendary level. It also set an example for Zhang's other Pokémon.